Great. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone joining us today. My name is Ruby Golo. I'm the Acting Executive Director for Global Chamber in Accra, Ghana. I also run a consulting firm called Global Trade Consult. We help businesses go global with their products and services. For those of you who are new to Global Chamber, it is the only chamber that operates in more than 195 countries around the world. Our business is to help companies connect with trusted and business-minded people without having to worry about traveling to those markets. Our activities are mainly done virtually via Zoom, like the one we are having today. And if you like what we do today and you want to join the global tribe, then please feel free to talk to us after this event. Some few housekeeping. Please keep your microphones on mute unless you are called to speak during the Q&A section. But please feel free to network using the chat room and also post your full contact details so others can reach you directly if there need be. We will try to make this section very interactive, so do get your questions ready. Today, we would like to dive into mental health. Although mental health has often been overlooked in our world, one cannot deny its importance, even on our work and business life. A lot of people are going through mental health related issues, knowingly and unknowing to them. It is for this reason that we chose today's topic, because a good mental health can significantly result in higher job satisfaction, lower job turnover rates, and greater employee output. Addressing mental health at work is therefore essential for recognizing signs of suicidal tendencies, etc. We are therefore privileged to have three ladies, Jackie and Julie, both from Business Health Institute in the UK and members of the Global Chamber London Metro, and patients, Supreme Healthcare Management Services and EAP Africa. She's based in Accra to speak to us on the subject. They'll tell us more about themselves and the work they do to support individuals and corporates in general. Ladies, thank you so much for your time today. Jackie, the floor is yours.
First of all, thank you, Ruby, for that lovely introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and to also thank Global Chamber for this opportunity, and to thank everybody for coming today and partaking. So, I'm Jackie from Business Health Institute. With 20 years of experience in mental health, I co-founded Business Health Institute with Julie Blinko to transform workplace well-being. We're here to help your organisation thrive by putting your people first. And I'd just like to hand over right now to Patience to introduce herself, and Patience is from Supreme Healthcare.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Greetings from Ghana. Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Ruby, and thank you, Jackie and Julie. So I'm Patience, and I have over 25 years experience from the mental health and well-being space and employee assistance program. I'm the managing director of Supreme Healthcare Management Services and also EAP Africa. We provide 24/7 support services for organizations in the corporate world. So they can call us 24/7 to offer us for us to offer them support. So I will be sharing some cultural perspectives that will help you to rethink, redefine, or re-architect your business strategies, and also to enhance your employee mental well-being and also organizational productivity. Great. So I just look forward to a wonderful conversation and also discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Patience. Yes, as Ruby and Patience have both said, we'd like today to be interactive. So it would be great if people can get involved either by through chat or asking questions as we go through the presentation. So first of all, it's a great honour to have you with us today. You are key figures in shaping the future of our workplaces. Your role in fostering a positive and supportive environment is crucial. So in today's workshop, we'll dive into the basics of mental health and explore its impact on both personal and professional life. I think Julie's just going to bring on the slides to show you the aims and objectives of today. We'll work on breaking down the stigma surrounding mental health issues, helping to foster a more open and supportive environment. Lastly, we'll focus on practical strategies for suicide prevention, ensuring you leave with the tools to recognise and respond to warning signs. So I think patients would be a really great opportunity here if you could talk about the Adricanda symbols and how they align
Yes, I will do. Yeah.
Well-being, please.
Okay, so can we go into it now? Okay,
Yeah.
Right. So the Adinkra symbols are from Ghana, and it represents concepts and aphorisms. They're very essential part of the Ghanaian culture, and they often used in various art forms, such as in our textiles, in our clothing, artifacts, furniture, jewelry, and also in architecture. In fact, modern and contemporary architectural designs and interior designs, are so enriched with the Adinkra symbols. I mean, when you visit Ghana, I mean, when you go to our art center, it's so enriched with the Adinkra symbols. So we've got sort of almost about 100 plus symbols. But today we're going to be focusing on the three symbols that obviously signifies well-being. So it also forms as a form of communication and ways to express beliefs and values and traditional norms that has passed on from generations. And it also helps to provide that cultural framework that aligns with various aspects of well-being. So let's take the first one, which is the, we call it the Junimunim, right, which is the ram's horn. So that symbolizes strength and humility, and it also represents the balance needed to maintain emotional well-being. So it's very, very key in terms of, how, your typical Ghanaian would think about, their mental well-being and also their emotional well-being. Then you have the wisdom note, which is also reflects intelligence, patience, my name, wisdom, and it also emphasizes, growth and self-acceptance. Then we have the social well-being, that's the social creed, which also highlights the importance of the community and social connections in fostering supportive and also social environment. I mean, one will ask that, why is this important? Because it's really important when we're talking about mental and well-being. We are able to connect with people on their level. We are able to relate to them in an indigenous way, whereby they are able to connect with what we're saying. Because again, I think we'll be talking more about that when we're talking about stigma. Because in our part of the world, anything that has the connotation of mental or psychology or whatever, people tend to shun it. But when you present mental health and well-being in a meaningful way, in a cultural relevant way, then people are able to accept it. So all these sort of Adinkra symbols actually exhibit or demonstrate signs and symbols that people can relate to. As I said, it's been passed on since generation, so people are able to relate to it. So now, in our sort of research, we did a research whereby the outcome of the research, people preferred the terminology sound mind instead, or peace of mind, instead of mental health or mental well-being. So what we've done is that we've got this initiative, Community Sound Mind Project, which is going very well. So this is just a synopsis of the Adinkra symbols. And if you want more information, you can Google it, or I can send you more information about the Adinkra symbol. Thank you, Jackie.
Ah, that's wonderful. Thank you, Patience. Thank you. So let's begin today by considering the importance of mental health in our lives and in our workplaces. So as Patience said, a sound or peaceful mind is key to thriving, both personally and professionally. So take a moment to reflect on a time when you felt mentally well, had a peaceful mind. Just take a moment. I invite you to think about that moment. And do you know what contributed to that feeling? So if you would like to share your thoughts, either by typing that in chat or saying it out loud, that would be great. It'd be great to hear people sharing and talking, so that we are the leaders and we need to set an example that we can talk about a sound and a peaceful mind. Okay, perhaps not right now, you people aren't ready, that's okay. So what I want to also make you aware of is that mental health is more than just the absence of illness. It includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, which links into the symbols that we've just talked about. When we manage our emotions, we're more able to connect with others, and we're in a better place to make decisions. So a sound mind allows us to find balance and to build strong, positive relationships. So now I will invite you again to think about, what does good mental health mean to you? And are you able to sum it up in one word? And if you are you able to type that word into chat? So we can all take a moment to appreciate the diversity in our experiences and understandings. Have we got any words that people would like to use? So for me, to feel mentally well means I feel good. It makes me feel happy. It means I can feel good about being around other people. And it means I can share. Those are just some examples that I can give you. So what is anybody going to share anything? Julie, Patience, is anybody you'd like to share?
I'll share, Jackie.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it just makes you feel more fulfilled in life if you're mentally or feeling more peaceful or more sound. You're more ready to face the world in the morning. You feel more engaged with your life, with your work. Feel much more in balance and harmony, I would say. Great, thank you, Julie. Patience, is anything you'd like to add?
Yes. I always say that, sorry, but sorry, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, okay. I will say that obviously our mental health or our mind is the epicenter of our daily functionality. Right.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
I mean, looking after that space is very, very, very crucial and important. It's about how we feel, how we think, how we behave. And if you look at the constitute of your mind space, we're talking about your thoughts, your imagination, your creativity, your perception, your judgment, your decision making, and everything. So the quality of that is really, really important in terms of nurturing it. So for me, when there is a synergy between my mind space and my body, then I know that, girlfriend, I'm doing very well that day. Yeah.
Totally.
And there's a big thing, I feel, that we've kind of got a belief system to focus more on our physical health than our mental health. and it's seen as separate, but actually the two are inextricably linked, and that focus.
I think that's a good point, Julie, is that
more.
if we have physical illness, say for instance we have a cut or we have a broken arm, people can see it, but mental illness or mental health, it's not easy to be seen. But each and every one of us experiences mental health. We're human. We have feelings. Each one of us has feelings, and that makes us have mental health, because we can go from one part of a scale to another scale, from happiness to sadness. Each one of us have those feelings. We all can feel scared. We all can feel excited. We all can feel sad and happy. So we all have mental health. We all have a peaceful, sound mind. But sometimes people, if we can go back to slide 5, Julie, we can see that we're talking here about mental illness, and that includes conditions like depression and anxiety that affect our mood, that may make us feel low. It may stop us thinking clearly, and it may impact on our behaviours. And these challenges can impact on anyone, regardless of age, gender, culture, or background. As I said, we all have those 4 universal feelings: sad, angry, glad, scared. We all have them. It's what happens, but mental health and mental illness can both be together. When we have the right strategies in place and the right supports, they can live together very well, side by side. So again, I'm going to invite you to take a moment to think about a story involving someone struggling, you may know, with mental illness. And I'm just going to ask you to think about that colleague or the friend in that situation, and how would you offer your support? I know that right now I have a friend who is struggling, and what I do is I reach out to her. I talk to her, I listen, I offer my support to help her so she feels less alone. That's just one thing. I'd be interested to hear if anybody else has got anything that they can share.
Well, Jackie, I can share a situation that I experienced. Well, not that I experienced, work that I did with a lady that I worked with when I was in corporate UK. And just to let you know, all the examples that I'm going to be sharing during this presentation, I've sought permission from them, and they're happy for me to share. Obviously, I'm not mentioning their name.
Yes.
Right. So I worked with a young medical doctor, and basically she was getting married, and she had everything planned to the T, all the I's dotted, the T crossed. And a day before the wedding, the husband to be called off the wedding. It was a shock. It was just so traumatic for her. She couldn't know what to do. Right. So what happened was that initially the call that came through was that it was a sort of a suicidal attempt, and then we got involved and stuff. And then later on, it sort of went into mental health related issues and stuff, and mental illness. So she was in an institution for quite a while. So when I was actually allocated the case, I went to the institution to see her. The first time that I saw her, she sat down, she was just staring at me, not saying a word. She had a plain paper in front of her, and she was just drawing circles, and she wrote on it, peace and tranquility, not a word. But what I did was that for almost about 5 weeks, I sat with her and just sort of, being present with her. And it really, really helped her. Then after the 5 weeks, she started talking, she opened up, and then we started therapy sessions and stuff. To cut a long story short, she progressed to a rehabilitation center, and then later on, she was resettled in the community. And now, I mean, she got back to work and she's remarried. She's one of the, I would say, top Black consultants in the UK now. And she's doing very, very, very well. And it's just amazing, the transition. So again, it's just about being present, hearing them, being empathetic, and what we call in therapy, the therapeutic alliance.
Absolutely.
That you're connecting with them, knowing that you are there for them and they're able to connect with you.
Absolutely. And there's something so powerful about being there for somebody who is struggling. And as you know, that lady didn't have words. She didn't speak. She wrote her words, but she knew that you were there. She knew that you were supporting her. And through that, she gained trust and was able to move on. That is, you know, that's superb and lovely. And thank you for sharing that, Patience. Thank you.
We have a hand up, Stephanie.
Stephanie, would you like to say something? Would you like to
Yes.
put your hand up?
Yes.
Hi, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. I just want to say this is such a huge issue that we have within the country. And I like the fact how you have the I like the illustration of on the greener side living well, on the red side in crisis. And the fact that you mentioned in this case study that just recently happened, it takes a community to help get people through the journey in life, because it's a journey. And I think everyone faces some point of this journey throughout their life. We're all not always living well.
Absolutely.
Life happens, family loss, job loss, whatever the case, illness takes you through some phases of this. And I just want to say thank you, kudos to you all on sharing this, but the illustration is powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, and this is going to be my next part, is that I invite people to look at where they feel that, Julie, can you go back please to stay on stage at 6? Thank you. To look at where they think they are on that scale right now, or something that they know or that they're concerned about. Where are they on that scale? And if you're comfortable, share a thought in chat, or like Stephanie, just share it. You know.
Can I say another thing? I think,
of course.
And I work in healthcare over the past 20 plus years. So I worked in 20 different specialties. But I think some of the stigma that comes along is that people are ashamed or feel that they are, if I share how I feel, that people are going to look at me a certain way. It's not sharing is what's going to cause the harm, right?
Absolutely.
Not
Stephanie.
addressing that this is where I am. It doesn't mean you're going to stay in crisis forever. Your village, your community is there with you to help you through the transition. Because it's peaks and valleys in life, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I've had my own personal experiences of loss, and there were times when I was struggling to cope. If I look on that scale, you know, I was somewhere between struggling to cope and slightly going into a crisis.
Absolutely.
I reached out. My friends were around me. My family were around me. My GP, my doctor, she was very supportive. And in that process, through a very deep loss, I went and experienced counselling. And that brought me back into managing life, where today I feel most of the time I live well. But there are times I do move up and down that scale.
Absolutely.
But family, having a network of people around me who listened and cared and were just there for me. And, you know, sometimes I didn't need words. What I needed was just knowing somebody had their arm out around me.
Absolutely.
That was enough sometimes.
Absolutely. And I've been in the crisis stage as well. I think another thing I can especially say when I was working in healthcare, we had employees that sometimes would be in these different phases, stages. and no one knows about it. And then what happens, they get reprimanded because of their quality of work suffers. And so we have the program that's called Employee Assistance Program that allows employees to say, here, this is where I am. And then therefore working with the leaders over the department saying, this employee is having some struggles. Their performance is impacted because of this. However, we don't want to write them up because they're not performing. How do we rally around them and support them? And that's the key of how do you rally around, like you said, Jackie. Sometimes you don't need the words, just say, I'm here. Or sometimes people will just say, I got this, don't worry, but let me do this for you. And it allows the person to move to kind of, they already feel heavy with life, but the work is even heavier because they want to perform and they want to do well, but they don't have the capacity because of the struggling to cope or the in crisis mode that they're in. And so I've seen it firsthand myself as, you know, being in crisis state, but I've seen it with my employees and how we helped them through that crisis spoke volumes for them. And they thanked us because you really don't never know when people, sometimes people struggle to cope. They handle it differently. They're suicidal and you don't know it.
Absolutely.
And you can push them there as an employer, if you're not careful, you know?
Absolutely. And it's being aware of this scale that anybody can be on at any one time, and just being mindful of that, being aware of it and holding that in your thought when you see in somebody's behaviors or appearance or their language that they speak, there may be something more going on behind that. So thank you. Thank you.
Jackie, can I just say thanks very much, Stephanie, for mentioning Employee Assistance Program. Yes, that's what we also promoting in Ghana. So, I mean, in terms of the EAP space in Ghana, we have a 24/7, as you said, you explained. So, we've got organizations that can sort of employees can contact us 24/7 with regards to any personal, family, or work-related issues. And it's really, really interesting, the array of issues and presenting issues that come through a call center. And I mean, we've had, suicidal calls a couple of times. I remember one time I was on call during the night and a phone call came through, and a highly professional, top in one of the banking industries that we deal with, was in a bathroom and called me that she's just had enough. She just wants to end it. And what she was saying was that, but when I look at my wife and my kids in the bedroom, I don't know what to do. I spoke to him. We had therapy with him for almost about 2 hours before the morning we went out to actually visit him. It was just amazing in terms of the transformation, in terms of the support that she got from our team, and then now back to work now and functioning, at an optimal level. So again, EAP is a very good strategy tool in terms of helping and supporting, employees and employers too. It's not only about employees, it's also about employers in terms of what mechanism and support they put in place to promote a culture, a workplace that has a sort of a well-being culture that helps and support employees too. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because it's really a good strategic tool in terms of supporting mental health and well-being. Thank you.
Thank you, Patience. And Stephanie, thank you. And so leading on from that, into the workplace, we look at that scale and where people might be on, but also, how we're feeling at any one time will influence our workplace, can we be productive? Are we absent from work because we don't feel able to cope anymore? And all those things affect our morale. So when we actively promote a sound mind in our workspaces, we see is increased creativity, satisfaction, company loyalty, and a more positive environment for everyone. So if you could think of one thing that you could think that promote mental health in your workplace, what might that be? I mean, Patience and I are going to highlight a few to inspire you, but I just wonder if anybody has anything that they think right now that they could use that would promote mental health in the workplace.
Nicole, is that what you'd like to speak to us about?
Sorry?
Nicole's put her hand up. And I just
Oh, great,
if,
super.
Oh,
if that's what you'd like
hi,
to say.
pleasant day, everyone. It was
Hi.
actually before this question, but I wanted, some enlightenment on is that, as let's say an individual practitioner and you have small staff, but of course you don't have a EEP program. Well, that kind of program in place, but it's a very rigorous environment with tight deadlines. How do you don't really have time. I mean, even your own mental health is on the line. So how do you, come around or deal with that? And so that was my question.
Okay, thank you. So that's a great question. I think it's about the foundation that's created within the workplace. So it's knowing so that people know that they can have open conversations about how they're feeling. So the culture within the workplace is crucial. And if people know that they can have open conversations, or they know that right now something's going on at home and I can't manage everything at work, and then they can reach out and speak to a designated person, that can help, so that they feel they have permission to talk. And it's about having that work-life balance. So encouraging people to take some small breaks in the day. So we, instead of like when you were saying, Nicole, about being on deadlines and people working, if people have 5 or 10 minutes break in the day where they can come away from what they're doing and doing something different, that actually helps their energy to be better and that they can concentrate more. So our bodies work in a 120-minute cycle. And in that 120-minute cycle, we reach our peak and our energies will naturally just drop. But if we can build in 90-minute cycles, 5 or 10-minute breaks, doing something less demanding or that doesn't need our concentration as much, we actually recover and go back into our next 120-minute cycle. And that can help people to be much more productive and much more able to focus because they're having regular little breaks. So that's something that can be put into the workplace straight away.
I also think, Jackie, that self-awareness is really key. I think when we become more aware of ourselves and how we're feeling, where we are on that scale that Jackie illustrated, and we understand what works for us as a foundation to keep ourselves well, and we can put those things in place as our regular self-care practices, then that helps us be more sustainable when times are tough, and especially if we're going through phases where times are particularly tough.
Yes, Julie, absolutely. And I think, organisations, workplaces can offer workshops, they can have mental health days, they can have access to the likes of patient services, the EAPs, so that the employees have the tools and support that they need. I also think, as I opened today, leaders can lead by example. So as a leader, making your own mental health a priority. And this sets a very powerful example and gives employees the confidence to do the same.
And permission.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when something's been achieved in the workplace, as Nicole was saying, some deadlines and you're under pressure, but actually recognize and celebrate achievements, no matter how small the celebration is or the achievement. It boosts morale, it makes people feel better, and it reinforces that positive mental health in the workplace. Patience, is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think in terms of the exemplary leadership, I think it's really, really key, because obviously, as a leader, when you model, the importance of mental health and well-being, the modeling that, it's really important that you take some time out for yourself, then obviously your staff or your employees will follow suit. I'll give you a quick example. Again, as I said, I've sought permission from all these people before sharing this example. There's one of the industries that we work with, and basically, because EAP is a platform of services which sort of addresses the multidimensional perspective of well-being. So this particular company signed on to everything that we had. So we were on site almost every day. My staff were on site every day. So the CEO of this organization actually was going through some turbulent times, and we did start some therapy sessions with him, but it was virtual. Then one particular time he said, he was traveling out of the country and that he would like to have an in-person because we are on site. So he would come in to the therapy room to have the session. It so happened that our therapy room was on the floor that had a very big department, which is actually the heart of, the organization. So that morning he came down. When he came down, we were in a session with another person. We've not finished yet, but I think he came early. So he was standing by the door waiting. And then when we finished and the other person went out, he came in. By the time we finished, news has spread all over that, oh my God, the CEO was on it, because obviously, because of the stigma, isn't it? They couldn't believe. And he was just at ease, sort of being there. And then he came in. And I tell you, Jackie, when we finished, the engagement level of our services just skyrocketed. People were coming in to see us. So this is, an example of leadership, leading by example. It's really, really important. Showing that vulnerability that you are a human being and that, yes, irrespective of the titles, you go through the ups and downs, the struggles of life, and it's good to seeking help. It's not, it shouldn't be something that we should shun. It's really important that we do that. Okay.
Absolutely, totally.
Dee, sorry, did you have your hand up, Dee? Would you like to ask a question, or did you just want to share something?
Yes, thank you, Julie. And I think Patience just mentioned what I was about accent. Because currently I have a colleague who is facing some challenges that we are not able to really get to the point of it. So the story is this colleague has been with us, working with us for the past 2 years, and she's been through, I'm working in a hospital, sorry. She's a nurse, and she's gone through all the units of the nursing department, and she's still not performing on the job. So for some time now, we've been contemplating, because if with the nursing field, if you make a mistake on the job, it's going to cause the hospital. And the kind of mistakes that she's doing at the hospital will definitely cause the hospital. And currently, we don't really know where to put her, because we are trying to avoid trouble. We don't want any legal action. So I'd wanted to find out from patients if, I think in her submission, she mentioned they offer services like that too. But I think she just mentioned it, so I'm okay. Thank you very much.
That's
right,
great,
okay.
So please, if I can get a contact.
Yes, we'll share that. We'll share that. Yeah.
And Dee, as we're going on, you might also feel that one of our tools that we use, which will fit in perfectly with patient services, it may help you and the hospital to understand what's going on. But you'll understand that as we talk. So if you just hold that in your thoughts as we go, as we move on.
Okay, thank you.
You'll see what I mean. But anyway, that's great. And thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
It's a very important question, and something that you brought to us. Thank you. That's great. So just to finish off on what we're talking about, mental health, how it can often be misunderstood and can be seen through various cultural lenses, which Patient mentioned earlier. It's really crucial to approach mental health, not just through traditional beliefs, but by understanding it, a fundamental aspect of our well-being. So every one of us, you know, our well-being is important, and we need to see it not just through traditional lenses, but through the psychology of how we are. So the stigma around mental health can hold people back from seeking help, which can worsen the condition and impact their ability to work. And that may be something that's happening for this particular individual that Didi mentioned. But by addressing the stigma, shame, the embarrassment, the vulnerability, we can create a safer environment where people feel comfortable to talk about their struggles and to seek the support they need. And remember, Patience, Julie and I, we're here to help you on that journey. You're not alone in it. We are here to support you. So I'm just going to move on to talk about a situation, a real life case situation. And again, like Patience, you know, nobody is going to be identified, and we have permission to talk about it. So it was how we made a difference to support somebody in the workplace with a mental health issue. So we were invited in by an organisation, a company, where they had concerns about a staff member's behaviour that had begun to change. They knew that something was wrong, but they didn't know what was happening. But they noticed that this person was starting to arrive late for work. They were becoming more isolated. They weren't interacting with their colleagues. They were making mistakes. And she actually wasn't presenting herself in her usual dress or her appearance. And these changes raised concerns. There might be something wrong. They didn't know what it was. So we came in and we conducted a stress assessment, which you can see on the slide right now. It gives an overview of manageable levels of stress, how many people are at high risk of stress, etc. So we conducted that online assessment, which identified this person as being at high risk and in need of immediate attention. So if you think back to our scale that we had, she was in crisis. So we offered a one-to-one meeting with this person immediately. And in that, she disclosed to me, she shared with me that she was struggling with severe depression. So I gained her permission to inform her medical practitioner and a direct line manager that she was struggling with depression. Given the high risk she was, I would have breached confidentiality if it was necessary to protect her life. I would be working within my ethical standards. So even though I sought her permission, which is what I wanted, because that meant I was able to work more easily with her and she didn't feel that I was taking charge of her situation, we worked together side by side. If I hadn't got that, I would have still shared the concerns because she was at risk of suicide. And talking about suicide, I think this is really important, doesn't mean someone will act on it. Talking and naming suicide, it actually can provide a crucial outlet for them to express their distress, which can be vital in de-escalating the situation and showing them that they're not alone. So going back to this case, she shared with me a detailed suicide plan and that she had access to medication at work, which only increased our urgency to protect her and to protect the organisation. So our focus was to get her the help she needed immediately, while still keeping her trust and working within our ethical guidelines. So as I said, I'd got her permission, so that made the process simpler. I spoke with her medical practitioner. I spoke with the line manager, made them aware of what was happening. So her medical practitioner got in touch with her immediately. She's seen her. She began the process of supporting her. Work made a safety plan. So she wasn't able to access any medication, and she was happy with that. She agreed to that. And she was also going to be working with somebody who was always going to be beside her to support her. So the outcome was that actually we managed to save her life. She didn't want to take her life, really. The depression and the distress and the isolation she was feeling made her think there was no way out. But because I was able to be beside her and support her and get the right help, that changed everything. And actually, she was able to return to work and become a very valued member of the team, and was able to get back to being to full engagement. What was important was the communication throughout that whole process. And because she knew she could have that open support, she could reach out to me, her line manager, the GP, it took some pressure off her. And she knew she wasn't alone, and that somebody was able to understand what she was experiencing. Do you have any questions?
And this was the assessment. This is the individual stress assessment that helped identify that, wasn't it, Jackie?
Yes,
and get
it
that
was.
individual the right support.
Absolutely. And I think this will also link in with Dee Dee. I'll hand over to you, Julie, to talk about this psychological factor index tool, that a psychological fitness index tool, should I say, sorry, that I think can be very helpful.
Yeah, and it does very much link in with what you were saying, Dee Dee, in terms of the workplace and protecting both the employee and the employer. And the psychological fitness index is a psychometric assessment which was designed for the safety promotion of the workplace. It takes into consideration the capability of the employee, the workplace factors, i.e. supervisory, competitive goals, compliance costs versus benefits, societal and cultural impacts, what our states, traits and beliefs are, and also the technical aspect of you know, maybe systems or maintenance that are in the workplace. Now, all of those factors, this was designed specifically for the mining industry in South Africa, but it's used across a wide range of industries. And when you think about the nursing profession, Dee Dee, as you said, you know, a nurse whose psychological fitness is not at its top place at that time, or we don't understand what's really going on, can allow unsafe decisions to be made, and that can have a real impact on the safety behavior within the workplace. And that's how we prevent that, is by putting a proactive measure in that helps us understand what's going on in the workplace and what people need to increase their employee well-being and safety behavior. This allows comparison of performance across different employee groups and facilitates the implementation of targeted early interventions. And that's because we've clearly identified what needs to change, and we can put those actions to enhance employee behaviour before there's anything that's becomes very negative or catastrophic, even in terms for the employee, i.e. suicide, or real risk of impact safety in the workplace. So can I ask anybody who would like to share how you currently assess employees' ability to act safely in the workplace? And I know that was one of your questions, Dee Dee. How do you do that? And this may well be an identification tool that then leads into the great work that Patience does. Don't know if anybody's got anything to share there. Stephanie?
Hi, yes, I can share just from past experience with our employers. So one, they go to the EAP, and then EAP, that's the beginning of it. And then EAP recommends them to see a provider. So therefore, as an employer, we're in the details because one, we want the employee to feel that it's a safe place. And sometimes people pass judgment when you're the leader. So when EAP comes back or the provider provides, this is the scope of work they're able to work, then we will transition them to another seat, which also reassure them that their job is not going to be given, then brings on another level of stress. And so that's how we assess through our EAP, and then EAP will recommend them to go to their doctor or a psychiatrist or whatever the case they potentially may need. Someone asked about from a nursing perspective, a clinical or like we've had physicians and nurses that were not able to function at the level they used to function, and that may be detrimental to patients. And so we will transition them to do something else that's still doing some their clinical judgment. And so therefore it's a little bit less stress for them, but at the same time able to keep them. And then sometimes there might not be anything that they can do, and we have to ask them to go on FMLA just so they can reset.
Great.
Okay. Okay,
That's
can
super.
I come in here, Jackie?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so
Of course you
much.
can.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Julie, for that interesting insight into the psychological fitness index. Right. So basically, I mean, as Stephanie has shed some light on the EAP. So it's based on the premise that, I mean, when you work with people, right, you're working with the whole person, not just part of them. So that sense of wholeness needs to translate into resources that supports the total well-being, but it needs to be in a well-coordinated and structured way. And as Julie said, being proactive is really, really key. So it's both a reactive and proactive service. Early intervention is the key. Early intervention is the key so that it sort of, prevent whatever might happen or whatever is already happening. So as Dee Dee was sharing, I think it's really important that we look at what the underlying factors might be, right? In terms of what we do. We do a lot of psychological safety assessment, which is very, very, very key. And looking at what underlying factors might contribute to what the current status in terms of declining the nurse's performance and productivity is very, very, very key. So just to highlight that it has to be all encompassing and not just focusing on just the sort of performance alone, but what are the other underlying factors that might be triggering this behavior patterns that you're noticing? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you. And I know that time is becoming of the essence as we've such an interesting discussion that we're having today. So I just want to talk about recognizing and addressing suicidal behavior, focusing both on personal and professional indicators. So from a personal thing, notice if anyone is pulling away from family or friends. Pay attention to expressions of despair or feeling trapped. This girl that I was working with, this lady, she said she felt trapped in her life. She didn't know where to go. Her only route, she thought, was suicide. Watch for an increase in alcohol or drug use. Look out for sudden or extreme changes in mood. And be aware if someone starts to give away personal items unexpectedly. Professionally, work performance decline. Watch for a drop in productivity or the quality of what they do. As Dee Dee said, and I said, this lady I was working with, and the nurse that Dee Dee talked about, she's making mistakes. Something's happening, something's not right. frequent unexplained absences or lateness into work. Look out for signs of isolation. Do they withdraw from work and colleagues? Sometimes, do they even talk of death, make comments about death? Even if it's made lightly, don't ignore it. Look at the bigger picture. Think of the comments I've just said, the points I've made. Are all these things happening, or some of them? Maybe their appearance becomes neglected. Perhaps their personal, how they present themselves looks different. They're not as tidy or as clean, or all those little things that you notice in somebody, have they changed? And I know a big question that people ask, why do people die by suicide? Well, from a mental health perspective, someone might take their life because they feel overwhelmed by intense emotional pain or hopelessness that seemed unbearable and unending. Mental illness like depression, anxiety, or trauma can distort, can change their thoughts, making them believe there's no other way to escape their suffering. It's important to understand that in these moments, they may feel very trapped and see no other solution except end their life. They don't often want to die, but they want to end the pain they're experiencing. That's why sometimes people do take their life. But with compassion and with understanding and support in helping them see that help is available and that their situation can improve. So having strong support systems like church elders, counsellors, the EAP programs, the clinical support, all these are crucial. In the workplace, HR can help by providing mental health resources and reducing stigma. So try to create an environment that encourages open discussion about a sound and peaceful mind. So think about what's in your workplace right now, how you can improve, you can add to it, make it better, or start a mental health campaign to reduce stigma and open discussions. And as we end, I just want to thank each one of you for your participation today, and to remember that you can make a difference, you can save a life. Reach out, be there for somebody. We all have mental health. Nobody escapes it, but we can all live with it and overcome it. That's the promise, that's the hope that we can give. So thank you for listening and being here today.
Thank you, Jackie. What an insightful section. I am totally lost of words. So many points to take away. The floor is open. We have a few minutes left.
Yes.
The floor is open. If anybody wants to share their experience or have any comment or any follow-up questions, this is the time to ask.
And we will be sending out the presentation to anybody that wants it. There is further information in the presentation that we haven't had a chance to touch on, Ruby, but it's there for people who may want to see it. So people, please, anybody wants it, please put your details in the chat box and we will ensure that you receive our presentation and resource information.
Absolutely, and we'll be happy to share the recordings as well to everyone who will be interested to have that. And yes, so the floor is open. Let's talk.
Well, I hope that today, between myself, Julie, Patience, and you, Ruby, that we've opened the door a little bit more to talk about mental health, to give permission to talk about it, to understand that each and every one of us have it and it's okay. And that with help, reaching out to each other, we can make a difference.
Thank
and
you. Thank you
people
so much.
don't have to do it alone.
Absolutely, I do agree. And I think we have Nee raising.
Yes, Nee?
Let's hear from you.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I just wanted to ask. It's a very good topic. When discussing this topic in our part of the world, over the years previously had been sort of like a black area where there's a lot of stigma, but now with these kinds of communications, with these kinds of webinars and meetings, there's opening up the flow. So I'd just like to say thanks for that. But what I'd just like to ask is, yes, you're welcome. What I'd just like to ask is, are there any free resources that we can get access to maybe educate people on it, just also to use to also manage kind of stresses and the situations that would deteriorate a person's mental health?
Yes, we can provide that, and I'm sure you can too, Patience. Patience still there? Yes, if you put your details in, we can work with whatever you need. We can.
Yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, that's super. That's great.
Thanks.
No, not at all. That's wonderful. Thank you for reaching out.
Great. Do we have any more questions?
Well, thank you, everybody. Oh, we've got one. We've got one from Nima.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. I just want to add from what he asked about the resources, but I wanted to ask, do you have any screening tool, maybe to screen someone if he's depressed, or anyone at work or a colleague, just something to lead and to know if that person is depressed or something?
Our stress assessment tool would identify that for you, and it does provide all the information that you need, and it would identify somebody who has depression or is struggling. We can do that.
Thank you very much.
Not at all. That's fine.
Great. Everyone, I saw our CEO, Doug, in the audience. I don't know if he's still with us. Doug, are you there?
No.
No?
No, don't think so.
Okay. I don't think we have him. Okay, so on that note, ladies, Jackie, Julie, Patience, thank you so much for your time today. We've really enjoyed the section with you, and I know a lot of people will be getting in touch. Those who will come to me, I will be sending them your way.
Super.
So yeah, so just watch this space. And for those who are interested in knowing more about Global Chamber and how you can join the Global Tribe, like I said, you need not travel to countries just to get business connections. You can get them right here. We are dotted all over the world. So reach out if you're a business person, you have products, services, you're looking for new markets. Global Chamber can provide us support as well. So do reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you so much for your time on the call today. We meet every last Tuesday of the month. Next month will be Tuesday, 24th September. And for those of you who are working on projects requiring finance, we'll have somebody come to present to us, so you wouldn't want to miss that. So please watch the space for the adverts that will be shared on social media and other mediums. Thank you so much, and you all have a great day, and hope to connect with you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye, everybody.
Have a good one.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thanks,
Bye.
Ruby. Thank you,
Bye,
Patience.
Julie. Bye.
Yeah, ladies, that was wonderful.
Oh, good. Thank you, Ruby. Yes, we've certainly enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for any way that we can help anybody, we'd love to. You know, it's such a passion of mine and Julie's having, good well-being, good mental health in the workplace and individually. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. So
Great,
let's keep
thank
in
you.
touch.
Yes, absolutely, Ruby. Love to. Thank you. Okay then.
Anyone in the audience want to have a quick word? I'm here a few minutes. Otherwise, my details are in the chat. Elisa, thank you so much for your support today. I think we can end the section now. Bye, everyone.
Bye.